You've heard over the last few days information come out about the fire that occurred in Slidell, and I think consistently you've heard each of us talk about the heroes that responded that night to save so many people from what would have been one of the deadliest fires that our parish has seen. From the Sheriff's Office perspective, I'm humbled and incredibly proud of the efforts of our deputies, the initial deputies responding, and the way that they worked with Fire District 1 in order to save as many lives as possible. You've got some of the reports coming out where firefighters and deputies were standing on the balconies, catching babies as parents threw them to the ground out of fear of their harm staying in the building. That took an incredible amount of focus by those responders to make sure that those children were not hurt. And then for those first responders, those deputies, who obviously are not equipped with fire equipment and training, to go into a burning building and kick open doors and do their part to try to save as many citizens as they could. And then realizing that their trained partners in fire services needed to get in there and do their job. If not for those initial efforts, again, this would have been a much different situation.
It's a fire chief's worst nightmare. I listened to the dispatch come out, and we had 12 people trapped. To have callers calling in from individual units, they call 911 saying they're trapped in their condo. I can remember those calls right now as I stand before you. Our number one priority was to protect those lives, save those lives, and do whatever rescue that could be done. I arrived on scene shortly after the first arriving engine. Obviously, Fire Marshal's Deputy Chris Vergis had already made notification of many of the residents. Our fire personnel in District 1 had already started rescue operations along with fire suppression operations. The main exit to this building was blocked with fire. It was fully involved at the only exit. Our number one priority was to get those individuals trapped off the second floor balconies and out of those units that they were trapped.
Our deputies recognize that if they shave 1 second off of the chief's response, then that could potentially save a firefighter's life. So that's where, Jim, they're going through trying to identify every apartment and who was in those apartments, and through that process, talking with the residents, discovered that some of them spoke with Ruthridge immediately as the fire was, I guess, igniting, and they identified him as leaving the scene. So then that's when the law enforcement work began.
You know, we got involved secondary from the call from the Sheriff's Office for our fire investigation resources, and we immediately went on scene. The beauty of this investigation, and you know, as the ATF folks will tell you, the National Response Team, you don't truly appreciate all these resources until you've seen them in action. And I can tell you, the biggest benefit is when everyone arrived on that scene that night and that day as it progressed, no one had to shake hands and introduce themselves. Everyone knew everyone, from the fire marshal investigators to the fire district folks to the sheriff's office folks, and even the ATF people from the New Orleans district. All those people knew everyone. So I think that's one of the things that serves the community real well. When you look at what has occurred here, where obviously it is intentionally set fire, it is a fire that we believe a very serious crime occurred, could have had significant injuries and major loss of life, you understand the importance of why these law enforcement partners come together so quickly and so seamlessly. And I'll tell you that the success of this case, as the sheriff talked about, is a work in progress of many years of working together, many years of sharing resources.
I think this is an excellent example of working cooperatively between state, local, and federal resources. In this instance, we were able to bring our expertise to work alongside and just supplement the Sheriff's Office and the fire investigation from the Fire Department and the State Fire Marshal's Office. Ultimately now it has resulted in a state prosecution. However, we are available to come assist the state to determine where the best realm for prosecution is, be it state or federal.
We're talking about probably 2 or 3 weeks before all of the evidence retrieval process and reports are written, are gathered, and we give it all over to the district attorney.